A not so frequent picture happens in Aldea del Fresno. Women and girls gather to celebrate their history and their sorority in a perfect picture. It's almost like something taken out of a movie.
Every year, tradition, sisterhood, and the celebration of the town come together to reflect the years of fight that these women hold.
It's not just a local party, it's a carnival that holds the history of the town. It started in 1975 when three local women, Hernández Vázquez, Pilar Hernández Viñas, and Rufina Hernández Serrano organized the first event. It drew over 500 attendees and even caught the attention of television. Since then, they have celebrated it annually in honor of March the 8th, in the International Women's Day.
Even if perhaps at the beginning it seemed like a minor celebration, its popularity has grown into the massive party that it is now. Mothers pass the tradition to their children, and now the new generations continue to celebrate in their town.
Good morning and welcome to the Southern Times podcast, a space where we bring you stories from the small villages on the outskirts of Madrid. We give voice to the residents and we create a sense of community around each story. We will count every week with experts and journalists who lived firsthand the reality of these towns. I'm Irene de Prosperi and I'm here with my co-hosts Jose Rubio and Eva Rodriguez, and in today's episode we will explore how history persists and conserves itself over the time in these towns through their structure or the storytelling of its residents. Grab a drink and get yourself comfortable. The Southern Times podcast begins.
So let's dive into the celebration. It begins like any good party, from towns square, among them a charanga, which follows them into the Navanyukosa farm, as everyone marches and dances through the streets.
When they reach their objective, they are ready to enjoy a meal of potatoes with meat prepared by themselves. Then they go back to the cultural center to enjoy a warm cup of hot chocolate with churros.
The women also have, of course, a patron saint, and on Sunday a holy mass and a procession are held in honor of Nuestra Señora de la Unión. They hold it the weekend before Ash Wednesday as a way to initiate the Carnival celebration. In essence, it serves as a tribute to the women of the village, honoring their history and their fight for recognition in festivities and public spaces.
This celebration has the support of the City Council since they understand what it adds to the value of the municipality. They assist them by securing road permits for traffic closure and arranging the charanga and orchestras for the dances.
However, despite the support or promotion that the town hall may give to this celebration, the ones that organize and make sure that everything is perfect are, of course, the women. From Maribel, who has been organizing the carnival for over 25 years, to Elena, who eagerly invites her friends to join the celebration each year, and of course, to Mercedes, Pilar, and Rufina, the pioneers who started it all.
These women want to make sure that their stories are never forgotten, that the eagerness to fight is never lost, and that the way we celebrate women goes beyond a post or a compliment on the 8th of March. In this village, Carnival means celebration, and this is inseparable from the women who bring the community to life.
The same women that remind us that the true strength of Aldea del Fresno lies in their hands. The same hands that prepare meals for over 200 women, carefully serving each dish and adding every garnish. But above all, hands that, with their wrinkles and scars, hold stories the world could never fully capture.
Literalmente no sé lo que opinará el alcalde, pero al final también el alcalde es de toda la vida de aquí de Aldea, entonces al final es lo que te dije, que no es una fiesta que hayamos creado ahora, ¿sabes? Y que, bueno, pues puede opinar gente que no, que sí, pero al final es una tradición que lleva ya tantos años que se ha hecho como tradicional del pueblo, que como ya te dije que no se hacía nada a cargo el ayuntamiento, esto simplemente nos pone la charanga, que es la única que paga, lo único que paga el ayuntamiento, pero la comida y demás la pagamos todas las mujeres que vamos a la comida, o sea, nos tenemos que apuntar en una lista para hacer un poco los cálculos de la comida que tienen que comprar y demás, y pagamos dinero cada una de las que vamos. Entonces es como, pues eso, ya se ha convertido en una tradición, que es una fiesta del pueblo, pues eso, como que ya es tradicional.
They are the ones who have witnessed the town evolve over the years, yet also the ones who have preserved its traditions. The ones who teach you how to make the perfect cocido, for example, who share their stories for hours on end, and who remind you that life now offers opportunities that many of them never had.
Because they know that when their time comes, their legacy will live on with the young hands that we carry it forward with the same dedication and love that Mercedes, Pilar and Rufina poured into it like 50 years ago.
The women of Aldea and Fresno have played a fundamental role in maintaining the town's life and community. They cook, organize and celebrate together, from the youngest to the oldest girl. It's a space of resistance and mutual support, where tradition and the fight for equality come together. In a time when the fight for equality continues, the Carnival serves as a small yet powerful reminder of how unity and celebration can be acts of resistance and empowerment.
As we dive into the vibrant Women's Carnival of Aldea del Fresno in today's episode, it's important to know that this is not an isolated celebration. All across Spain, there are communities where rural women step into the spotlight, leading traditions, organizing festivities, and keeping their culture and ideas alive. Now, we're going to take you through a quick journey through 3 rural celebrations where women don't just participate, but they become the main protagonists.
Some festivities are not satisfied with just settling for one town. They are traveling festivals, like the sort of cultural carnivals, rolling through a tiny mountains town and forgotten villages. It's the case of the Federation of Association of Rural Women, known as FADEMUR, launched in 2023 with the Caravana Cultural de las Mujeres Rurales.
The first stop was Navia de Suarna, deep in the green heart of Galicia, and it was of course a massive celebration. The weekend included concerts by female folk musicians, theatrical performances, short films followed by public discussions, artisan fairs and hands-on workshops, from cheese making to digital marketing for rural businesses. It wasn't just a festival, it was a stage offering visibility to female artists, farmers, businesswomen and storytellers who often don't have a space to share their voices.
And the best part? It's designed to move and be able to reach new villages every year. In 2024, it landed in Piornal, the highest town in Extremadura, and from what we're hearing, more stops are already planned for the coming years.
Going back to Castilla-La Mancha, we head southeast to La Roda in Albacete, a place famous for its Miguelitos but that holds much more. Every October, around the International Day of Rural Women, the town celebrates what they call Fest LR Mujeres Rurales, an occasion that's both joyful and political.
It's an open-air festival filled with color. Local women set up stands to sell handcrafts, homegrown produce and traditional foods. One of the highlights, a fierce cooking contest centered on pisto manchego, one of the greatest meals ever invented by manchego since El Quijote. There are live music performances, storytelling circles and a shared lunch where neighbors bring homemade dishes to share with other neighbors.
This isn't a tourist festival, it's celebration, it's by and for the people who live there. And it sends a clear message. Women in rural areas are not just caretakers of tradition, they are innovators, entrepreneurs and cultural leaders in their own right.
In Coyudo, a quiet village tucked in the province of Guadalajara, every February the towns transform during the festival of Santa Ueda, a tradition that dates all the way back to the 16th century. And this traditional festivity, like in Aldea del Fresno, women take over.
During one day, the local mayor symbolically hands over the town's power to a woman, usually a prominent figure in the community who becomes the mayoress for a day. Processions fill the narrow streets, women wear traditional clothing, and there's singing, dancing and food. But the people of Coyudo explain that at its core, this celebration is about something deeper. A moment where women, historically excluded from political roles, reclaim visibility and agency, if only symbolically for a day.
This is something really powerful, especially in rural areas, but I have to say, and here I'm playing a bit of the devil's advocate, that the very reason these celebrations exist or have lasted this long is because women were never truly in positions of power to begin with. Giving women one day to take control can also feel a little bit a way of saying off, don't get too excited, this is just for a day, you'll never actually be the real major or hold actual power, so maybe something to look forward to changing in the coming years.
Yeah.
These are just 3 more examples to add in the case of Aldea del Fresno and their women's Carnival, but they show us a pattern. Across Spain, rural women are creating spaces to be seen, heard and celebrated. They are challenging outdated roles, reviving traditions and leading cultural movements from the ground up. So next time you hear someone talk about the rural Spain as abandoned or left behind, remember these women. They're not waiting for change, they're building it, one celebration at a time.
Españoles, Franco ha muerto.
What we heard was when Franco died in 1975. This famous sentence. Spain was stepping into an era of transformation without knowing it, but if you were living in rural Spain, the changes were felt more slowly and often in the quietest ways. A true change did not come until years later, while in bigger cities modern times reached the women of Madrid or Barcelona, and of course the men, rural women had to wait and often started revolutions that made no sound.
Before the end of the dictatorship, women's roles were largely defined by their duties as wives and mothers. They were the backbone of rural life, but their visibility was often limited to the household. Public spaces were for men. Women's voices were not part of the conversation on the town square or at the mayor's office, of course.
Una revista convoca un concurso para elegir a la mujer ideal española que competirá en Italia con las mujeres ideales al gusto de otros países.
Ha sido seleccionada por Canarias como representante de España y ofrece un largo repertorio de virtudes domésticas. Sabe preparar bien un guiso y es excelente planchadora y modista. Practica los deportes, especialmente la natación. Y como aficionada al arte, le gusta visitar los museos, lo cual forma parte importante de sus funciones como secretaria y guía de turismo en Las Palmas. Ya conocemos algunos aspectos de esta ama de casa ejemplar. Ahora sería interesante conocer su opinión sobre el hombre ideal para la mujer.
Me gustaría que tenga la responsabilidad necesaria para formar un hogar y encontrar siempre en él el cariño y comprensión que toda mujer desea.
Pues ya lo saben los caballeros y aspiran a ser también ideales.
During Franco's regime, rural women didn't just face traditional gender role, they also had to navigate a society that placed their values squarely in their home. Work outside of the house was rare and often not recognized. They were also bombarded with impossible standards of what wife should be, something they had to accomplish while maneuvering for the family to survive in a place where poverty was ravaging.
Still, women could not own property independently, and many lacked access to education beyond basic skills. When the country began to change, women in this area continued to have fewer opportunities to engage in public life, since traditions of patriarchy often ran deeper here, where customs were passed down through generations.
This is why the celebration of Aldea del Fresno, which started right in 1975, is so important. These celebrations were more than just fun or festivities. They were a way for women to step out of behind the scenes and stand at the forefront, if only for a few hours on a single day. Through these acts, they slowly began to challenge the old norms and demand their place and their public sphere.
Of course, the road wasn't easy. Rural women faced a long struggle to access the same rights and opportunities as their urban counterparts. The pace of change was slow and many still carried the weight of old tradition. But in the faces of women who quietly built new spheres for themselves, whether through cooking, organizing, or even dancing, the power of the power of resilience was clear. Thanks for listening to the Southern Times podcast. I'm Irene de Prosperi.
I'm Jose Rubio.
And I'm Eva Rodriguez.
If you want us to keep telling stories that give voice to the people, share them. And if you're from one of these towns, thank you for keeping the flame alive.